Hey, this is a podcast. No, wait, it's a comedy podcast. Well, we tried to make it a comedy podcast, and it's not meant to offend anyone. So don't get offended, okay? And wait, there's something else. Oh, yeah, yeah. Listener discretion is advised.
Audiomatic presents Our Last Week.
Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Pal.
Kunal, I'm now in a different country. Different.
You're a hopper, yeah. Global grasshopper.
Global Grasshopper. Global Grasshopper. That sounds like the name of a ethically sourced clothing company. Global
Yeah.
Grasshopper. We don't use any Bangladeshi labor. Global
Yeah.
Grasshopper t-shirts. So what it is I decided to put all my things in storage. I don't know if our listeners give a shit about this, but and finish all the comedy commitments I have around the world in one go.
Yeah.
So UK I finished, Norway I finished. Now I've come to the US. I'm in New York City. It is 6:30 in the morning in New York City. It's a cloudy day, and that's where I am right now.
I think the only market now that's left for you to tap now is the Southeast Asian market, no, Pal? I think you
That is
haven't
left.
really.
That is left. But as you had sensibly pointed out in 2014, Kunal, and you had figured out what the trick was with stand-up comedy, which is it's just the same bag of jokes, right? Some jokes increase, some if you're lazy, the jokes never increase, but you're dealing with a bag of jokes.
Right.
Now, there's only so much you can expose a population to with a bag of jokes.
Yeah.
So when you run out of that population, you have to travel around the world
Yeah.
and then see some other part of the world that's up for a bag of jokes. And then
Yeah.
eventually you'll run out of the world. Basically, what I'm saying is this is an elaborate way for procrastination. What is the answer for an artist? The answer for an artist is to write more stuff,
Yeah.
right? Then you can stay at home. And because your audience will want to see new jokes. If you're lazy and a loser like me, then if you don't find new jokes, find new countries. Right? That's there are only two ways to play this game.
That you are not in the search of new jokes, you're in the search of new audiences, which is lovely. I know these jokes work, I just need other people to hear it. That's
No
all.
matter how far they are. Alaska, sure. Just
I'm
tell me a
going.
town. Seattle, I'm there.
And honestly, while you might think it's a problem with stand up, I think it's the great gift of stand up, because as a filmmaker or as a person who makes TV shows or whatever, you've written a joke, people watch it, and then they can access it at any time, yeah, for the next so many 100 years, and then you have to keep coming up with new ones. For stand up, it's so much better that you've just got 12. These are my 12 jokes. Now I'm going to go to Norway, now I'm going to
Yeah.
go to Indonesia, I'm going to go
Yeah.
to America, Central America, and I'm going to find some people, 40 people, 140 people, it doesn't matter, they haven't heard these 12, and I'm going to make them hear
Yeah.
these 12, and they don't know me, and they will pay, and I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that's wonderful. I have a bigger question for you around that, which is the real quest here. The real quest, the reason I travel the world so much, is that I think it's best if people know me for only 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I create a very good impression, both with jokes and my personality, for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that, I fail as a human being.
And this happens in your personal life also, Pal.
I mean, you've known me a long time. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so.
Yes. So, my question to you is, let's extend this from me to anyone in the world. Do you think that this search that I'm on, this is like, see me, this is the best of me in 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Tomorrow I'm gone from your country. Like, don't you think this is a great way to live, which is let people in those 35 minutes get the best of you and then disappear, and then no one knows where you are, what country, what you're doing.
Yeah, I think most personalities are like that. They're great in little short bursts. They're just wonderful to just, expose yourself to this new person for 30 minutes. But now if I have to share a toilet and all that stuff, and like we have to eat breakfast together and we like spend our life, it's difficult. It's
Yeah.
improbable.
See,
that you're
you've
going
cracked it. You've cracked it in a different way because you're staying in the same place, but every day you go and become a different person.
But it's much harder, pal.
It's much harder. It is much
I have to
harder.
keep looking. I have to keep looking for the right script, the right role, this director, that director. Then I've done this joke. Oh, there are only so many times I can do this. I know I repeat myself and all of that. But, you still feel a little. With your thing now, it's there. You've got a solid routine and like 8 billion people as your audience. And you can like slowly by slowly just chip away, at that large. That large number,
I don't know. I think yours is better because you have figured out a different camouflage. You live amongst the people, but you do so many varied roles that nobody knows. Like, are you Kunal Rai Kapoor the murderer? Are you Kunal Rai Kapoor the defecator? Are you Kunal Rai Kapoor the romantic? So you also don't allow people to figure out who you are because just living amongst. I'm not an actor. So I need to run. You know what I mean? Like either there are two ways to live in the modern world because otherwise it's unlivable, right? We'd all jump out of a window. One is either you camouflage it in different ways. So people are like, I saw him in Delhi Valley. He's like that in real life. So people don't know who you are. Or you run. You act or run. Don't you think? Like how else do you live in modern life?
No, that's true. That's true. There is no other way.
There is actually no other way, right?
Yeah.
I have a tricky conundrum from my travels.
Right.
So my Airbnb host in London is now my good friend. I really hope he's not listening to this podcast. I don't book my place through Airbnb anymore. However, now that we're friends, I feel he takes me for granted. So I'll give you an example. I had paid him for 2 nights, not through Airbnb, just for 2 extra nights, months ago. Now this week I found out I'm about to arrive for those 2 nights and he's taken another Airbnb booking and forgot he took my money and now is finding me a replacement flat. Now my conundrum is he's only doing this because he's a friend of mine and he's taking me for granted. Is it a bad idea to be friends with him? Would things be more efficient if I did it through Airbnb? Is this why there are algorithms in the world instead of friendships?
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why, we were just discussing yesterday that sometimes it's not very good to make very good friends with the director.
Yes.
Because then, then you feel like, oh, he's my friend, yeah, it's okay, I'll shoot 16 hours, he needs me to shoot an extra 3 hours, what's the big deal, he's my friend, it's okay, or even for him, it's like, he's my friend, yeah, he's so you and then like sometimes you want to argue about something, but he's a friend, you don't want to, you don't want to push it, even you don't want to get to, but if it's just a director and actor, and there's no friendship there, then you can push back harder, I feel, with, your opinions sometimes. But now, your landlord, I mean, it's nice of him to be looking for another house for you, but because he cares about your feelings, I guess. But he wouldn't have done this.
But he's become a friend.
He's your friend now, so now he's kind of just, he's taking you for granted. And that's why you need that middleman. And Airbnb is that, it's that middleman.
Yeah.
It's that if you had booked the same 2 days through Airbnb, then he would have got a pop-up reminder. He wouldn't be able to book on those 2 days because it wouldn't allow him to book. Because that would be your manager, the Airbnb would be your manager. So
that's why we need managers. Algorithms are managers. See, basically, if the director is not your friend, then you could be like, excuse me, I disagree with that choice. I think I should be crying here.
Yeah.
Which is not something you can do. Like, as with a friend, you won't have you'll be like, "Arey, fine, fuck it. He just wants me to cry. I'll cry here. Yeah,
it's okay.
He
knows he's my friend. He's
yeah. Later we'll just go and have dinner. It'll be fine. We're pals. Yeah. This is why I don't know if our audience knows, when we work together, like when I write and direct something, and you're acting in it, we're usually for that period not friends.
Yeah.
And I think it's better for the work, right?
Yeah.
I remember during going viral, we had quite a few clashes because some of the writing was weak. And those clashes needed to happen for the work. And I think that's the other role that either you need a machine or an algorithm, or you need animosity. That like okay, now for the next 6 weeks, my friend has written something, he's directing, and I'm in it. We are now adversaries. That otherwise the work suffers.
Yeah. You need that.
And don't you think that once we took an adversarial position, the work improved, wouldn't you say?
Much better.
So maybe, I mean, if this is your conundrum, then maybe if you go into work tomorrow and the director is a friend, why don't you start thinking he's your enemy and see what happens?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might improve things.
Yeah. And the moment you start shouting, and they're like, but Kunal, I thought the director was your friend. He's now my enemy. You're my enemy. And let everyone on set know also.
Yeah. I don't like him.
Yeah. Then after that, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
See, this is camouflage. We're all camouflaging. I have a quick side conundrum, Kunal, about coffee. Do you like coffee?
Yeah. I love coffee, yeah.
And I'm a bit of a thing for espresso, right? I drink a lot of espresso. I've cut down.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had
Yeah.
kidney stones, so I've cut down over the years. But I drink a lot of
Right.
espresso. And around the world, I look for espresso. And Bandra, where I live, it's become quite good with espresso now. Like I'd
Right.
say it's one of the top places, anywhere else I've been in the world with espresso. Because, all I do is basically I finish gigs, I run, I look for espresso in a new country. That's basically
Right.
how I live.
Right.
So my question for you is that in America is particularly weird. I've just arrived in America yesterday. This morning I went early to look for coffee, and Americans drink a different kind of coffee. The Americans drink the coffee that you see in police TV shows like Law and Order, like NYPD Blue, all those crime shows. There's always NCIS. There's always people drinking coffee in the morning.
In those diners also, they drink coffee.
Diners, it's like a watery brownish coffee. It's not even black. But they drink a lot of it. They get gallons and gallons of this American coffee. What is this coffee? And why do they they just have a jug of it while they go and try to solve a murder and all?
I think it's hot to warm water.
It's water.
It's hot to warm water that has had a brief encounter with something that used to be coffee beans. It's just basically.
I think you've just summarized American culture in that sentence.
It's it's just like it kind of just grazes past some like coffee beanish kind of thing, and it's in a semi-liquid steamish kind of state, and it's kind of pushed through this little thing, and then it comes out as this slurpy black brown liquid.
That's why they don't stop drinking it. Like if you see any of these police detectives in New York City, whatever, in those crime shows, like when was the body discovered? They're always slurping. They're always drinking because they can't get where, as opposed to like say if you travel in Europe or even in India and you ask for double espresso. In India they warn you, right? They tell you because India doesn't have that many double espresso drinkers. We've got a lot of Americano, cappuccino drinkers. So the guy at the counter, the barista will tell you, sir, no water, double shot, strong coffee.
No milk, huh?
No milk. They tell you what will happen. Which is pat. It's going to hit you. It's going to wake you up. Wake the fuck up.
Yeah, because generally most orders, at least for the in the early days of coffee, when we had the barista, when barista first opened or cafe coffee days first opened, people used to order it like a roulette. They would say Maa-ki-aa-toh. Or they would say cappuccino, and they'd say espresso, and then the guy would just explain quickly, like what it is. Sir, इसमें ये है ना Aa-fa-gato. Sir, ice cream के साथ है. So it's like but a lot of that now people are getting used to that. People know, okay, this guy knows what he's ordering, because for 10 years people were just saying, let's see what comes. you know, because there were so many different cup sizes. There would be a tall cup, a medium cup, a little baby looking cup, and people would just go, "Hey, so cute. Let's just pick one of these things and see what we get. Americano." So and suddenly they get a tall thing and they say, "Oh, look." So that happened for about 10 years, and now people have kind of settled into knowing, exactly what it is. But you'll still find the odd barista who would say, sir, isme only pure black, huh? Chota rehta hai, bahut chota short rehta hai. He said, yes, thank you.
Yeah, and they tell you.
Yeah.
And in India, they warn you because he knows that, sir, 1990s mein, 5 people died after having
Yeah.
11 coffees. Can we digress for 1 second?
Sure.
Because you brought up this fantastic point of the era of Cafe Coffee Day. Because there was a
Right.
time where Cafe Coffee Day ruled the Indian social scene for young people.
Right.
Would you say from about 1997 to about 2007, somewhere there?
Yeah, I'd say somewhere there, maybe a little later. I'm not completely sure of the dates. But yeah, and even Barista came around that time. These two were the two coffee shops that kind of changed the game.
And there were more than coffee shops because they were places for young people to just
Hang
go,
out. Yeah.
hang out. I suppose just spend the day. Like
Yeah.
maybe romantically date. Like it's not like now where it's like you go and get your coffee, leave, because we're so
Yeah.
used to coffee now. But the would you say that those places, the coffee they gave you was an excuse, like just the so you just kept drinking, it's like 5 cappuccino, 3 Maa-ki-aa-toh. Like you just needed something to spend the day there.
Like I remember when those places weren't there, we would do that at like an ice cream parlor, but there's only so much ice cream you can eat.
Yes.
Like, and then what we do is that to extend the duration, if we are in a group of 5, we'd order 1 ice cream every half an hour, so that you get to spend 2 hours there, because then they'll start saying Abhi Niklo and all that stuff, because they had seating and all that. So then, you'd say, Acha, abhi ye ek scoop dena. Then you'd eat it slowly, chat. Then you'd get one more thing. But you can't, like, with coffee at least you can keep doing it. With ice cream, it's a little difficult. So, and there weren't many places for people to just go and chill, right? Just to go and hang, like, without the pressure of ordering anything.
They were not. I mean, we grew up in an India where I think when Cafe Coffee Day came, it was just like, it was almost like the equivalent of, like renting a cheap motel if you're a
Yeah.
young couple looking to have sex. It's like, come here to this place. What is it? It's a coffee shop. But I don't want coffee. Doesn't matter. Just come. Just get out of your house. You don't have to see your parents. It's a place.
Yeah.
That's how they should have just advertised it. It's a place with chairs and AC. Don't you need a place? I need
Yeah.
a place. This is a place.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know where young people meet and hang out and kiss, and I guess they don't do it anymore. They do it on their phones. They do it online. But we loitered a lot. As in,
loitering
we loitered, smoking cigarettes in street corners. We loitered. So there was no difference between us and the homeless.
Yeah.
Cafe Coffee Day kind of changed that. It became a place for everything. You could sign your rental agreement there. You could fall in love there. You could get cheated there.
Everything.
You buy a SIM card there. It was a. I don't think Cafe Coffee Day knew what they were getting into when they started.
Yeah. Yeah.
It became like it's a place. Like, don't you miss it? I mean, it's not there anymore. Like,
No, it's there. As in, it's there. Of course, it's there. It's
no,
just
Cafe
that,
Coffee Day is there, but
know-
it doesn't serve that purpose anymore.
Yeah. Well, I at one level, we were also quite this thing that how expensive coffee can be, something that we used to get for 10 rupees and 15 rupees. I mean, okay, it was whatever kind of coffee, but suddenly you're paying 50, 60, 70 rupees for a cup. And it was like such a big shift, and most people thought, this is never going to work. But little did they know that they're not actually selling coffee, they're just selling time.
Yeah, it's a hotel.
Time
It's
away from, it's basically a space for rent. The coffee is just a thing. What you're actually getting is a table, some air conditioning, and just a place to just chill, and you're paying for
How
that.
long do you think a guy in say the height of Cafe Coffee Day's power, right? So say 1999, I'm throwing out a year. How long do you think a guy could get a coffee and like do his day's work there? I don't think anyone would throw him out. I think he could have probably stayed till 1 in the morning, till it closed.
I guess he'd have to again keep ordering something. You get a cookie, then he'd get some small thing, have half a sandwich, something. But I guess if you keep ordering every hour and a half, it's okay.
Yeah. And you could set up for the day, right? Like you could go there.
People have used it as offices. People use the place. I mean, Starbucks is still used. Like a lot of film production happens at Starbucks, casting.
Yes, but you know what happens, how India's changed, and more than inflation, is that Starbucks, if you're setting up for the day, they know that you're not homeless, that at the end of the day you will leave. Yes, you're setting up for the day, but you can afford a Starbucks. So you are a person of a certain economic, background or whatever. You are a person of some worth.
Right.
And they have faith in that. With Cafe Coffee Day, you never know whether when you are downing your shutters, that guy will leave or not. That was the magic of it. You didn't know if it was a neighborhood home or a coffee shop.
Correct.
So that I think I sort of miss that kind of.
Yeah.
It was Oyo rooms, which is cheap hotel rooms, before Oyo rooms happened. Have you ever, just a last question on this, given we digressed into a Cafe Coffee Day nostalgic trip, have you ever spent like many hours there? I remember when we were doing President is Coming, it was the last flames of Cafe Coffee Day, because I remember having 4-5 hour meetings there.
Yeah, no, I haven't really spent a lot of time at a coffee day. Somehow I've always figured, like, I don't think any real work can really happen there. I mean, it's basically, for me, whenever I see anyone there who looks like they're doing work, I see someone is posing, like someone's acting. There's no way, like what could you be doing over here? Like, what are you solving? What are you
I feel anyone who's got headphones in a coffee shop working, which is a great topic. At some point we must cover this conundrum, is just a person who looks like a person who's working.
That's what. It's a performance.
He camouflage. It's like, see, I've got a job.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even a performance for other people. It's a performance for them only.
Yeah, that I'm working. I've got a job.
Working. So it's, I think it's just to calm themselves down, So
I realize that nowadays, if you've got headphones and a laptop, in the age of working from home and self-employment, it looks like work. Your parents leave you alone, your wife leaves you alone. You just pull out the laptop in the morning, put on headphones, start typing. It looks like you're making a living. And that's all you need to do, actually.
But the sad thing, and I feel that this is quite sad, is that the Starbucks and the coffee days and the baristas of the world, they only would allow, or they would only permit work that would be around notepads, pens, and laptops. And I think that's quite limiting. I think that they need to open it up to other professions. I'm saying, like, say a tailor came in, and he came with his cloth. He said, "Ek cappuccino," and then he just proceeded to cut a full suit over there. There would be trials. He would, like I'm saying, he'd have a little sewing machine, and they'd say, "Sir, you can't do this." He's like, "But that guy's working on his laptop.
Yeah,
I can't do my stitching over here." Or
there's only one kind of work in the world. There's only one kind of work in the world.
Only laptop work allowed. What about my work? I'm into ceramics. I'm a potter. Like, that's fine, sir, but you can't be throwing like mud on the table. And he's like, "What about him?
He's on a conference call." Yeah, he's been talking to people in 11 countries. Or what? You can go really far. You can do a karate class. Who's stopping?
Just one table and like 4 students.
Yeah. Hoo, ha, ha. Sir, you can't make these noises. It's a karate class.
Why? He's on a con call.
We gotta bring back those days of Cafe Coffee Day, man. Because those are the great days. Kunaal, I've got a last conundrum for you. My entertainment system didn't work on a recent flight. Okay, So I changed my
Okay.
seat. A flight attendant came by. I said, listen, my entertainment system is not working. Can I just go to the aisle seat behind me? I was in an aisle seat. She said, yeah, sit. So I did. I started watching a movie. When the food came around, I have to tell you, I was on an American airline. I don't want to name it, whatever, not important, Delta, whatever. But the thing is that as you realize that American airlines are a little bit different from normal airlines, because most other airlines, they treat you as a human being. On an American airline, I don't think there's any difference between, say, a cargo flight and a passenger flight. They treat you the same way as a cargo flight. I mean, if they haven't punched you in the face, it's a good flight. You know, it's good customer service. And because of the history of all the sort of, airline issues in America, 9/11, etc., the people are very strict. It's a very strict. There's no fun to be had. You know, it's not Emirates or Etihad. There's no fun to be had in American planes. So you shut up and behave yourself and just sit where you're told to sit. Right? Now, when the food comes around, the lady says, this is a vegan meal. So she gives me some sprouts and some other sprouts. I mean, it just looked like not even food. And the people around me were eating meatballs and all of that. So I said, I didn't order a vegan meal. She said, but this seat has ordered a vegan meal. I said, but this is not my seat. I was in that seat, but the entertainment system was not working. So I came to the seat. So she said, but now you're in this seat. I said, yeah. She said, now you have to eat this meal. Now my conundrum was, what should I have done? Because there was no flexibility here.
And you couldn't go there, just eat your meal and then come back.
I asked, I said, can I just go? I could, I mean, it was 29C and the other one was 31A. Like they were literally across from each other. 31F, sorry, across from each other. So it's just literally the next seat. So I said, can I hop over, eat, come back and watch entertainment? She said, no. Your seat is your seat. Your life is life. This is your seat. Now you pick what you want to do.
Well, personally, I would have taken the vegan meal because I would need the entertainment. I really struggle on long flights. So but it's a personal thing. So I would have just eaten the vegan meal, whatever it is. Maybe had an extra, if it was an international flight, had an extra drink or something to compensate. And then continued watching because it's airline food is not something I'm looking forward to either way. It's not like this is going to be good. It's basically sustenance. It's basically just so that you don't collapse or you
Correct.
don't. It's it's like so now whether it's vegan or how good are those meatballs going to be really? You're going to eat 2 bites and you're going to be, oh god, this is horrible, but I need to eat something. So I'd sacrifice the meal given that it's on a plane, and I would continue to watch the entertainment because I need that.
But on a final note, what do you think of this strategy that American Airlines have? I don't know if you've flown that many American Airlines. Of basically, right when you get on the plane, the other airlines have a strategy of welcoming customers, making them feel at home and relaxed on a long flight. American Airlines go with the theory of fear. I thought that if even I suggested meatballs, they would take me to the back of the plane and smack my bottom. Like I was in class 6 again, in front of my very strict headmistress, Mrs. C. Ennis.
My thing is that if airlines start getting so strict, maybe people are pissing themselves because of it. Like they're just pissing out of fear. I know that a lot of people have lost control. They've had too much to drink, and then they misbehave, and then they and we're hearing more and more of people urinating on planes, not in the toilet, but just generally.
You're saying that on an American airline, it would happen out of fear.
It would happen out of fear. Because people would then just wet themselves in their seat only.
I was almost there. And I have reasonably good bladder control. And I was very much there when she's like, sorry, sir, you can't get the meatballs. You're in the wrong seat. I was like, oh, shit. Like, are they going to strap me in and slap me around? What are they going to do now? So, yeah, I mean, that's one approach, you start going to the toilet because of fear. But that's one way to do customer service. I mean, they had an option called Comfort Plus. seat. And a Comfort Plus seat is just a seat that reclines. And you pay an extra $5 for it. And I've realized that if you take away certain basic things that were assumed in the past, you can charge people for anything. You know, like if you got on a plane and says it's $10 to recline, sir. But I mean, I've grown up my whole childhood. I could recline on a seat. Said no, now it's $10.
And I think that, we all need to learn more from the airline industry when we are charging. You know, like I think that people make too many assumptions about,
things we do
like
for
whether
free.
it's acting, things we do for free. Say, sir, I'm acting, these are my fees. So then the call comes on the day of the shoot, where are you? Like, I mean, you didn't tell me to, you told me to come there, but you have to pay me separately if you need me to arrive.
There. Yeah, to get there.
To get there is the payment.
You bought my time. Now I'm waiting at home. Now you pick
I'm
me
at
up.
home. Now you have to pick me up.
Yeah, you didn't
Then
tell us.
after that,
but these are extras.
But everything is separate.
Yeah.
These are the extras. These are
But
the perks.
previously,
Then
we worked with all great actors. We worked with Dilip Kumar, Raj Kumar. They didn't ask for a car. Said no, but now this is the system. You sharp. You want it or not?
changed.
So,
Correct. And then he's like, sir, in this scene, you're going to be laughing, and then in the end, there's you have to hug. He said, no. See, mine was only for straight dialogue.
Yeah.
Laughing and hugging is an additional charge.
Yeah. I bought the card machine. You tap it there. You tap it. I'll do it.
Tap it there. Yeah.
I'll do it. See, there are 3 emotions here. So we want 4 emotions. No, that's another.
That's extra. That's extra.
Plus GST. Yeah. Kunaal,
Yes.
this has been our last week, and
It has.
and we offer 2 levels of service,
Yes.
just like American Airlines, but we love both. We don't shout at anyone. We offer Patreon subscribers Patreon things,
Yes.
and our seat reclines for everybody.
It does.
And we have normal listeners who we love also. And we don't shout or serve Brussels sprouts or sprouts to anybody. It wasn't even Brussels sprouts, it was just sprouts.
Yeah.
I don't even know the difference between Brussels sprouts and sprouts.
Brussels sprouts are round. They're round, like a very small cabbage.
No, this wasn't that. This was definitely sprouts. Just.
And sprouts are things that, have started their journey of growth only to be eaten.
Yeah, like what was on my
sprouted
plate didn't look like it was allowed to live. It was a vegetable, but wasn't allowed to see itself through.
Yeah.
You were listening to Our Last Week, produced by Rajesh Tahil and Avdut Khanolkar, hosted by Anuvab Pal and Kunaal Roy Kapoor, assistant producer Akanksha Kadam.